Hello everyone, here I want to present an article. Before that, I would like to introduce myself first. My name is Apriliana Sari, and the title of article is Analysis of Education Student Reading Interest English on Scientific Article. Author by Eka Pajar Rahmani, Institution Universitas Tanjung Pura, released to December 2019. The first is introduction. Reading is an important activity for academics that improve critical thinking, taught the skill of prediction, checking, in-depth analysis, idea development, and two-way communication between the reader and the reader. Reading acts as a source of information, consolidation, enrichment of vocabulary, development of thought partners, and knowledge that can be applied in life. There are two main aspects of reading. Reading skill, which include identifying vocabulary and reading flow, and reading comprehension, which improve cognitive interaction between reading and readers. Even though it is important, student interest in academic reading, especially scientific journal, is still low due to an unsupportive library environment, limited access to online sources, and a lack of related reading. This research aims to measure the reading interest of students in the third semester of the English Language Education Study Program FQAP Tanjung Pura University towards scientific journals, considering that dense journals have high complexity, up-to-dateness, and accessibility. The Semarang State University policy, which stipulates the use of scientific journals as standard reference, emphasizes the importance of scientific journal in the academic world. So, students need to be aware of the benefits and develop an interest in reading scientific journal from an early age. And the next, research method. This research method uses descriptive research, which focus on the context analysis by describing, explaining, and interpreting the data that has been collected. And the next, result and discussion. Reading exposure. First, based on the table above, it can be concluded that from the 109 response, 18.1 or 17.4% of respondents have a tendency to not have reading habits. And the second, based on the table above, student preference for reading material can be concluded the novels are the most popular among respondents when compared with journal as parent reading. There is a big difference. Only 2% or 2 out of 109 respond choose journal as parent reading. The third, based on the table above, it can be concluded that the frequency or level of frequency of reading by respondents in a week is that 56% or 61 of 109 respondents answered that they were not sure how often they read in a week. The next, based on the table above, student reason for reading can be concluded that 65% or 71% of the 109 respondents read as an entertainment activity. The next, based on the table above, student preference for reading place can be concluded that 90% of respondents answer home as a place to activity reading. And the next, based on the table above, student familiarity with journal can be concluded that 82% or 89 of 109 respondents are not familiar with scientific journals. The next, based on the table above, student knowledge about journal can be concluded that 98% of respondents do not know the names of or title of journal that are relevant to their education. Only two response could mention the name or title of the journal, while 107 respondents did not know the name or title of the scientific journal. And the next, based on the table above on the use of journal of students, it can be concluded that 62% of students use scientific journal only when instructed by the course lecturer. The next, based on the table above, the frequency of student reading journal can be concluded that 88% or 96 respondents use journal less than 3 times in one semester. And the next, based on the table above, the rule of journal for students can be concluded that by 51% or 56 respondents answer that journals are important for students to use. The next, based on the table above, it can be concluded that 57% or 62 respondents answer choosing or looking for journal based on the result and discussion section in the journal. The next, based on the table above, the frequency of access to the Tanjung Pura University FKAP journal can be concluded that 79% or 86 of the 109 respondents have never accessed the Tanjung Pura University FKAP journal. Only 22% of the total respondents sometimes access the Tanjung Pura University FKAP journal. The next, based on the table above, interesting inverting articles can be concluded that 60% or 65 of the 109 respondents have no interest in writing articles published in journal. The next, so the result of the analysis based on the title ranting response reading interests are based on the aspect of reading interest, habit of journal, percent of respondent response, only 4%. Title ranting of reading interest, no interest. Based on the aspect of reading interest, knowledge of journal, percent of respondent response, only 2%. Title ranting of reading interest, no interest. Based on the aspect of reading interest, use of journal, percentage of respondent response, only 22%. Title ranting of reading interest, no interest. Based on the aspect of reading interest, frequency of reading journal article, percentage of respondent response, only 2%. Title ranting of reading interest, no interest. Based on the aspect of reading interest, preference of journal section, percentage of respondent response, only 51%. Title ranking of reading interest, moderate interest, based on the aspect of reading interest, frequency of accessing FKAP journal, percentage of respondent response, only 22%. Title ranking, reading interest, no interest. Based on the aspect of reading interest, interest in Wharton Journal article, percentage of respondents respond only 40%. Title, renting, reading interest, no interest. And the next conclusion. Tanjung Pura University FKAP English Language Education students show very low interest in scientific journal article with 86% not interest and 88% never reading a scientific journal in one semester. This causes a lack of student knowledge about scientific journals. A special program is needed from the study program to overcome this problem and increase interest in reading scientific journal among students. Okay, that's all for me and thank you.